Hello, everyone, and welcome to our December 30th, 2025 healing session. So the group and I had a nice long talk. So I just hope you experience this is really a coordination and rearranging of the entire nervous system. So a lot of us, with what's going on in the world and all the fracturing and division of ideologies and ideas and thoughts and what's going on, people are confused and feel like they're maybe getting caught up in things. Maybe they feel like they're in an extreme, or maybe they feel like they're downtrodden. Okay. Or some people feel they're superior. Yes, there are some people who do that. I almost left that one out. It just didn't seem to come. But I was feeling into really the submissive. I think that's what I feel, like I'm submitting to everything going around. So I really want to do this in the will center. That's your solar plexus. And what we're doing here is going to really help return to our values and what those values are. And I'm not talking about preferences. Everyone has a preference. That's not what we're going to, because preferences just end up being a bunch of mishmash and very confusing, right? This person has a preference that would, values are the basic values that are handed down by the metaphysical, by the rules, let's say, of the universe, the rules of divine, whatever divinity you believe in. We're looking at that energy that says, well, I know what to do and what not to do. I know, I was reading a book about a sociopath. I forgot the name of it, but the gal who wrote it, I think it's Stefani, something like that. And she knows by the consequences of her actions that she shouldn't do certain things, but can't help doing them, but never really harms anyone, doesn't do anything too harmful. And it was just really interesting to read her book. So even as a sociopath, you can have even psychopaths who aren't necessarily going to be dangerous. They can have enough self-awareness. So what I'm thinking about is that all of us really know it by virtue of living with other human beings, living with ourselves, and having that basic understanding. We're all pretty much the same across the planet. There's some things like thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. Yes, I know people do it, but we know that it's wrong, and we know that there are consequences to those actions. We know we need to honor our parents. How do we know that? Well, people who completely cut their parents out of their lives, I don't mean just don't see them. I mean, say, I, disown my parents. Those people very often have difficult lives. You can check that out statistically and see what goes on there. There's so many different things we know will make our lives worse. So if you think about the things that are fundamentally valuable, fundamentally are the values, the moral values by which we need to live by, they usually make our lives better. They're not constraints, okay? They're not, rules that are handed down to tell us life is not good. These are constraints that tell us, that help us make our lives better. You think of Jordan Peterson's 12 rules for life, those rules that he has. Sorry, somebody's trying to write me. Those rules can support your life, right? So it's really this paradox that we live in the physical world, right? So the metaphysical has this understanding of how to best live in the world. Then here we are living as human beings. We're going to make a lot of mistakes. If we have those values, they're definitely going to help us out. How do we find those values? Well, you could read your Bible, you could read your religious texts, you can read fairy tales, you can read all kinds of things that help you see how to get through the journey of life. And that throughout these fairy tales, the ones that really work, they can be cross-verified all over the place. You can cross-verify all of the phenomenological world, your experiences, right? Fairy tales. There's also psychological studies that can be cross-verified, experiments, even animal studies. You can cross-verify so many things to understand there are certain things that are morally valuable, that are moral values that can help us through life. So you can do all that research, have fun with that, have a really good time with that. I love it. And the other thing that you can do is just sit now. We're going to allow your body mind to remember. So as they say, the 10 commandments are written on your heart. And there's also a space in the brain where there's dharma. So there's bilaterally in the thalamus, this place where there's dharma, right living. So if you go and eat something that's not good for you, you're going to suffer the consequences. You're going to suffer inflammation. You're going to get mucus. You're going to get stomach cramps. You're going to get joint pain, right? So those of you who have been through the holidays, and wow, we had lots of different foods and sweets. Well, I can tell you after Christmas Eve dinner, the next day it was cramps, all kinds of different aches and pains. So we know that eating properly, we know that taking care of ourselves, we know that living right is very, very important to make your life better. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just complex but simple, and you keep making these simple steps to making your life better, whatever you're going to do. So we want to arrange that through this part of the brain. So it's bringing the section in the two sides of the thalamus that are dharma to run through the cerebellum. That's what coordinates everything, that coordinates the body, coordinates our muscular movement, we get postural control in the brainstem. We want to get that whole body to be working together with the sense of what the metaphysical is, so that we're going into this new year with that beautiful view of, oh, I can make things better for myself. So no matter what's going on in the outside world, no matter what somebody's saying to me, my aim, where I'm looking, is to make my life better. How am I doing that? Well, first of all, let's follow what's going to work best for me, not narcissistically, not egocentrically, because whatever's going to work best for me, it's going to work best for my neighbors. So if I clean up my garden, that garden is clean. If we clean up the ice and snow outside, well, when somebody walks by, they're not going to slip. So we clean all that ice, and then tomorrow it's clean for you to go outside. But also people who go by don't fall down. Today people sue. In the old days, I remember when I was a kid, and my grandma used to talk about, how the city was. And it was each individual business put up, Christmas decorations. They decorated the tree in front of the business. They decorated the sidewalk. They put all the decorations out. Today we have the city doing these kinds of things, right? When I was working in Leandros, when it came time for celebrations, each business owner went outside and did all the white wash painting of the floor in front. So there are all these little stones, and you would whitewash all the stones. This is to make the community better. Now we have it all distanced a little bit. The government takes care of it. We don't take care of it anymore. The government takes care of it. Good, bad, I don't know. But I can definitely say there are some good elements. Great, I don't have to do it. And, the whole city looks beautiful. It's uniform. Everything looks lovely. So it kind of makes sense that it's uniform if you communicate with your neighbors and everybody does the same thing. Could that be? I don't know. It was when I was on the island and we all did whatever we did. It was all just a continuous, beautiful white washing of the buildings and the ground. It was gorgeous, and little decorations. And that is you could say a value of love thy neighbor, a value of treat others as you would want them to treat you. I mean, there's so many different ideas you could play with, in understanding that this would make your life better, makes your life better. Coming up with your own preferences in the world. Yeah, you have your preferences, but they don't mark values. So that's something you can think about. We had a long discussion about it, so hopefully it'll arrange in your body mind. So this is to help move fear of all the things coming at us in the present moment. There's so much coming at us. And so let's clear it through the gut brain. Number one, we're going to help the cerebellum, or support the cerebellum, to give us a better organization of what those values are, and to help us dump those that are, selfish or narcissistic. And let's go. There we go. I do hope you enjoy this, because this is really a very different kind of session, and I find it super powerful. And even before I got on here, whatever was building up for the session was really stressing me out, especially fear for a friend of mine. She's had some difficulty. You know who you are. Yeah, I'm talking about you now. And I felt that fear, and like I'm about to do now, I burst into tears. And there's just a lot of emotion around some of these things when we don't really understand what values are. It can tear families apart. It can really tear families apart. And so I've got my own experience with that, and my friend does too. So a lot of us have, experiences of how this tears families apart. So I hope that you all find that those values that are written from God, or whatever words you want to use, and they're written for all of us to enjoy. They're not sequestered away private where no one can enjoy them. We can all enjoy them, and we can all love each other. So thank you, everyone, and have a great new year. I'm not going to see you. You'll see me in the world session, the tarot session on Friday, but this is our last session for the year, and I'll see you next year. There's a possibility I may miss the next one. We'll see. But for now, we'll keep it on as usual. But if you don't see me next week, it'll be because I'm traveling. Thanks, everyone. Bye.